was designed, or is designed, I should say, to increase the number of CW operators on the bands. As you all are aware now that FCC no longer requires CW, or Morse code for the non-hams in the audience, no longer requires CW to be as a licensing requirement. And anyway, the Academy addresses all levels of students from the beginner to the vets like VVA. And what they want to do is they want to increase Morse code skills such as head copy, read from behind, things like that, which I'll get into in a few minutes, as well as activity on the air. Okay, each semester is held 3 times a year in January and February, April, May, and September and October. And in 2022, they're going to change it. They're going to start the second semester in May, have it run May through June. That gives the students wanted a bigger break in between, and that's what the Academy is going to do. They're going to accommodate the requests of the students. Anyway, each semester is 8 weeks long, and they're usually held twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. They can't always do that, and the Academy will advise students whether if they can support on days other than Mondays and Thursdays. And again, when possible, they try to run them from 7 to 8 o'clock in the afternoon or the evening, and each one is an hour long. They're also held within Zoom, and it doesn't cost a thing. And the Academy classes are conducted by ops members that are volunteers. So we don't get paid a thing, but we have fun doing it. Okay, equipment essentials. You need to have broadband access. I'll clean my glasses here in a minute. Broadband internet access, a computer of some type, laptop, desktop will do. I've noticed that some of the students have tried using iPads or iPods, and those don't seem to work as well. I just don't understand why, but they don't. And the webcam capability. As far as keyers go, a single or dual lever paddle is up to the student. Some prefer single, some prefer the dual. But straight keys, I don't think you could keep up with a straight key. Some of you might, but the majority, from my experience, cannot. And it also takes a dedication to practicing daily, about an hour or so in 15-minute intervals. That seems to be the formula that the Academy prefers, and it seems to work as well. Excuse me. There are 4 levels in the Academy. The beginner, that is to say limited with no experience at all with Morse code, and the objectives of that is for them to learn the characters, the alphabet, and the numbers. They want to, by the end of the course, the student should be able to head copy the characters and form small, short words as well. Excuse me. Anyway, I said head copy. Then they also want to learn the basic protocols of a basic QSO, such as your call, weather, things like that. It's setting the student up for a rag chew on CW. Let's see. At this point, we're not interested in having the student learn abbreviations. That's a bit much for now. That'll come later on. Okay, if the student starts at the basic level, they should be familiar with the code and a desire to increase proficiency. And the objectives are to increase head copy and sending skills using instant character recognition. In other words, toss the pen and paper aside and just take some notes. And again, excuse me a minute. That pine pollen kills me every time. Anyway, the complexity of the on-the-air QSO or Zoom QSO is increased, and they get into stuff like I went shopping today. It's just increased is all. And its goal is to improve head copy and character recognition skills. And at the basic level, they're introduced to contesting skills, such as the such as the International DX Contest and some others that you are all familiar with on phone. There's a CW equivalent to all of those as well. And let's see. Yeah, the homework for the basic level consists of short stories. I'm sorry, guys. The homework consists of short stories, which are actually 2 or 3 sentences long, and then they have QSO practice. And again, this is all from the Academy's website. Should someone jump in at the intermediate level, they should be able to operate roughly 10 words a minute, and they want to be able to increase their proficiency for contest DX and RAG choose. As you can tell, this is getting more complex as we go along, as the course titles indicate. Again, the objectives of this one is to increase copy and send skills, and they're also introduced to contesting tools such I hate getting old. To increase copy and sending skills using contesting tools such as Morse Runner and Rough Z, which are fun in themselves. What those are is they'll send calls out, call letters out at the speed you select, and your goal is to copy it, and then they score you. That also increases your head copy skills, and it and you also start to learn to recognize words as sounds instead of individual characters.
Why don't you take a break and get some water?
Thanks, Bruce.
And we'll take a short intermission break.
Okay, let's try this again. Again, folks, my apologies. It came on all of a sudden. We were talking about the intermediate level. As I mentioned, you learn to recognize words as sounds, and the homework is similar to the intermediate, similar to the basic level, except the short stories are more complex, and the QSOs are more in depth than they were at the other level. For example, the QSO practice might be in addition to RST, is they might start sending weather and rig types, antenna types, and stuff like that. And some of the contesting skills would be used at the weekly we call it CWT. That's a CW Ops test. It's held every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and 10 o'clock at night, our local time. And if you don't think the bands are busy, get on there during those times, and you'll find out. And you'll find out they're quite active. They're also a lot of fun. Okay, the next level is the advanced, and that is a 15 words a minute plus, or the capability to do that. And again, the increased proficiency for higher speed on the air activity. Again, the common thread through all these is head copy and sending skills. Speed doesn't necessarily mean that much. The focus will be on accuracy there's no point in sending 100 words a minute if the receiver keeps asking for repeats. You kind of defeating the purpose. Yeah, higher speed QSOs before, and they want to try to this will go away once I stop, but that's the way it works. Anyway, increase the contesting skills to 30 words a minute plus. That's where the weekly CWTs come in. Those guys cook. And also you start to recognize phrases as sounds. I never thought that was possible, and now I'm actually doing a lot of it. It's amazing. Learn to copy from behind. That's where someone sending a sentence, you sort of lose it for a couple seconds, and you pick it up again. Plus, you catch up with where you left off. It's kind of fun to do in a way, and it also it increases the skills to become considered for CW Operators Club membership, and that requires you be able to comfortably send at 25 words a minute accurately, actually, as well. And you have to be nominated by one person and sponsored by 3 other CW Ops membership. It's not just a checkbook and a heartbeat. Okay, I've included some links, all the things I've talked about tonight. All the things I've talked about tonight are on these links, particularly the first one, the cwops.org, the classroom stuff and the homework. You'll see under student resources. And then the middle link there, the Academy -options, that tells you how to sign up, as well as explains the class levels, which I just did. So that's where that goes. And in summary, it's offered 3 times a year. It's intended to either develop or increase your skills. It's conducted when possible during the evening hours. We've got some folks in Europe. Another instructor does, I don't. But they're in Europe. He's in California. You can imagine the time zone fun they have. Anyway, the classes are free. Do you have any questions? I'd like once more to apologize for my dang cough.
We have one in the chat. Can you explain head copy?
Sure.
And well, there's 2 other questions, not quite as tough. Do you receive donations, and where are the classes held?
Okay. Let's see. Head copy. That's the ability to, instead of writing everything down, you copy and retain it in your head. A call sign, for example, someone sends his RST as 599. You just hear it 599 and remember it. That's did that answer your question?
Yes, she said yes.
Okay. I can't see the chat with my screen. Let me unshare.
Yeah. Well, I'll just read the other 2 questions.
Okay.
Do you guys receive donations, and where are the classes held?
Okay. No, we don't take donations that I'm conscious of. I will get back to them on that one, though. I've never heard of it before, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And the classes are held in your house via Zoom. The instructor will, once you've applied, the instructor, the academy will sort students out as best they can by time zone and time of day. And then the instructor will set up a meet and greet a couple of weeks before the classes start. I know it's a long-winded answer, but a couple of weeks before the classes start, they'll do a meet and greet, which, aside from what the name implies, it's also an equipment check. Do you have a Morse code oscillator, or use your rig in CW mode with the break-in function turned off? I believe that was the last one, Bruce, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've got 2 questions. The first item, if you need this presentation, I hear it's on Facebook and it's also on the website under the news tab. But Rich, to you, I learned many years ago copying on paper. How hard is it to go from paper copy to head copy? And then I'll give you my second question.
Okay. It's, I learned the same way. In fact, when I took my novice exam and my general exam, in Atlanta, I had to copy it on paper, and it's hard to break. Right now, I don't 100% head copy unless the guy's really cooking along. But I do take notes. For example, if VVA calls me, it is 40 words a minute. I'll write down. I know he's a good op. That's why I say it that way. I'm teasing him. Anyway, if he calls me, I'll write down Bob, so I don't call him Bruce by accident. That kind of stuff. But it took me a while to unbreak the habit.
Okay, all right. You said in your presentation that one of the requirements to join is to send 25 words a minute. Did you really mean send, or did you mean receive?
Both. You carry on a QSO.
Oh, okay. That's it for me.
It doesn't have to be an hour and a half. It can be something as easy as RST name and QTH.
Okay.
But as long as the nominator, as long as the nominator and the three sponsors are satisfied that you're comfortable with it, you're good.
Okay.
Okay, back to the room.
Hey, Rich, what level are you at now?
What level?
Yes, sir.
I graduated what's now the advanced, but
Very good. Very good.
yeah, Bob and I finished it. Was it 2 years ago, Bob? It was called level 3 then.
It was, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but yeah, it was more than 2 years ago. And I'm still consider myself a mediocre operator. And all the things you said make sense because I can copy behind and, all of a sudden I've got the guy, what he said before. And I don't have to write it down. But I'm still don't consider myself a real good operator. And I'm sure you're much faster now than I am. And I'm working at it, but I think we should all work on it. And it's a lifelong process. And there's that lady, Kate COH or whatever it is, that wrote Go with the Flow. And I posted that a couple of times for us to read. And that's what keeps people in amateur radio. When they're a new operator and they start to learn Morse code, in general, they stay operators. So we need to get people to do that. I'm sure that Bob is going to be a ham operator with us for a long time, and he's got to get a good antenna up. You've got to get that antenna up. And I don't need to, I've got a good dipole up. I've got a 40 immediate dipole up. So I can make contacts all morning long on, for the hour that you're on, the 3 hours, there's 100 contacts that you can make. You just go down the list. Look out everyone. If you've got a spectrum scope or something, just go down the list and make contacts with them. And I'm slow. I sometimes get 20 or 30, but most of the time I get 10. And I get drink a cup of coffee and read the email. You don't have to be a hot dog at it. You just get to take your time, and it's just enjoy the experience of getting on the air. And then later on, you can go on and listen to a QSO, maybe a 25 word, 30 minutes, 30 words per minute or 40 words per minute. You just listen to guys' conversations, and they'll talk about a lot of things, and you can just maybe take notes as to what they say. You can go back and say, "Hi, I see you're 81 years old. So am I." All that kind of stuff. So it's an experience to get better at CW, and CW Ops is something that really helps you do so. And that's about all. I've taken up too
Okay.
much time on it.
It doesn't. And
Oh,
with those short stories, I told you that cough was going to go once I stopped. The with those short stories, the idea behind them is as I said in the presentation, it's head copy, but it also allows you to kind of soak in the words and let it go. And also, if a little trick of the trade is you can vary the speed of those. My hack attack during the presentation made me skip all that, but it goes from the short stories run from 10 to 30 words a minute. And I would advise anybody who's curious is to do the one with the higher speed than they're comfortable with, and then go back to the speed they're comfortable with. And it's amazing how the speed you're comfortable with will seem like it's glacial after listening to one that's a lot higher speed.
Yeah.
that's how I studied for my extra. I listened to 35 and 30 for a 20-word per minute exam, but that's that's old
Yeah.
news. Had another question that I missed, and Patty reminded me. Don asked about 5-letter word groups.
Oh, that's how they count words a minute. Isn't that right, Bob? Bob and Bob?
Yeah,
That's
but
Yeah.
the word Paris. Paris, if you do Paris at 60 words a minute, or whatever it is, that would be exactly correct, because Paris is a number of letters. That's one word, 5 letters. But if you do 5 love letter groups, that helps just group it. And if you use five words, use full words of 5 letters, then you could read those words, and that's a lot of fun, being able to read those words and see, well, I got that word. The word talk, or the word help, or whatever the word is, and that's really useful.
at higher speeds, you don't hear the individual letters. What you'll hear at higher speeds is a sound, just like I'm talking to you now. It's a language. And that sound, you will identify as the word help, the, or whatever. But you're copying it at a much higher speed. So you really don't hear the letters, you hear the actual sound of the word. And that's how you copy it when you get up in very, very high speed. You've got to break away from copying individual letters to words and
Yep.
sounds of words. And this only happens, there's a break point, and it's a plateau. It took me a couple of years to break through that plateau of listening to the letters and listening to the words. When you start a conversation with somebody at higher speed, you'll find that the same conversation is going to issue when you first make contact. You're going to sign your call. You're going to give RST. You're going to give your name, your QTH, and everything else. When this happens, the guy can wrap that stuff off to you really, really fast. You know what he's going to say. So you don't write down QTH. You write down like Rich was saying, you take notes. You write 599. You know what RST means. And then his QTH, the weather, WX, and he's going to say so many degrees, and he'll probably put F or D or something like that, DG. You're going to find a lot of CW is abbreviated also, but it can be sent to you much faster because you already know what he's going to say. Sometimes I'll finish a sentence, or a guy will ask me, or he'll type in he'll be sending information to me. I already know how he's going to end it because it's pretty much the same all the time. So once you reach that point, then you start talking. You can carry on conversations via abbreviations. And if you look at CW, you'll find you'll find half a dozen different types of abbreviations like hi, thanks, TXX, et cetera, Yes could be C, or it could be YES. And as you move along, pretty soon it all begins to gel in your head. The trick is, once you get up to about 30, 35 words a minute or higher, when you start carrying on a conversation at the speed I'm talking to you right now is about 35 to 40 words a minute. So when you get up to that speed, you will carry on a conversation just like I'm talking to you now, but it's on CW. And that's when it gets a lot of fun, because then you can sit down and talk about everything under the sun.
The way these guys that do these high-speed contests do this is they copy call signs. They hear a call sign and then they type it in and then they hit some keys and send it out. But they don't bother to decode the call sign. They hear it as something you just typed in. So they make 200 contacts an hour easily.
Yeah.
But they don't listen to those different call signs as call signs. Let's listen to them as something that you type in real quick. And
I've been watching these contests. A lot of these guys are using the computer. They copy the code. They sit there with a key, and they don't have to worry about the call sign. It's already on the screen. They click on it, and then they send a macro back. I'm sitting there. A couple of years ago, I'm running a CW with a bug on Viberplex, and I'm sitting there trying to make up contacts. And I'm listening to these guys running along at 45, 50 words a minute, and they're just running circles around me. I can't make contacts because they get the call sign, they click on it with their mouse, boom, they click on it, it automatically sends a macro back, and this guy's already completed his transaction with the other person and moved on and talked to somebody else. And I can't move that fast. But that's what's happening now. A high-speed contest CW is pretty much computerized.
Yeah, there's one op that checks into the weekly CWTs. That's the CW ops sort of a test. It's AA3B, Bud up in Pennsylvania. I work him every time, and this is not an insult to him in any way, shape, or form. But he does that. He runs two rigs, one on 40 meters and one on 20, and he goes back and forth. And I talked to someone who knows him, and that's what he does. He programs his computer. He pushes it an F1 or something like that. It's N1MM. I'm all manual here, but I'm still stuck in the 80s. But he uses N1MM to send the AA3B, and Bud, and then his ops number is what, 242. Like I said, I work him 3 times every Wednesday, so it's sort of in my head now. But with a contest, and I'll be quiet here in a sec. With a contest, you know what's coming, so it's not that difficult. Like it might be RST and state, so you're going to get 3 numbers and then a 2-letter abbreviation, or DX if it's so you don't have to sit there and have your mind go in knots or in circles trying to figure out what's coming next. It makes it easy. Anyway, I'm all done now. Thank you for your patience.
It was a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. I could rattle on all night about it.
I think the prefix contest is coming up this weekend.
Yeah, that's
a serial number in the exchange. So you got to keep up with the serial number and make sure you get his serial number down.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it more fun.
Thank you, N1MM.
Well, there were not any questions from the church, so unless you have anything else to add, Rich, or anyone else, I think we are ready to be adjourned.
Well, as I said, my email address is n4dpm@cox.net. It's on the club roster as well. If there's any questions you have that you think of after the fact, I'll be glad to answer via email or 850-585-0853 is my cell phone number. Leave me prefer text, so I won't think you're trying to sell me a car warranty. Back to you, Bruce.
Okay, I have nothing else to add. Thank you very much, Rich. For those that are here and haven't read their emails 2 or 3 weeks ago, next month's presentation will be by Ray Crepo, K1HG out of Navarre. He's going to talk about his communication ops after Hurricane Katrina 15, 16 years ago. So that should be pretty interesting. I know that he and his wife drove over there, and that was a chore just getting over there, but much beyond that, he hadn't told me. So looking forward to that. So with that, we'll say 73 to everybody. Have a good night. Good weekend.
Hold on, Bruce. Hold on.
Thank you, Rich. Good presentation, Rich. Thanks for being an advisor at CW Academy.
You're very welcome. I enjoy doing it.
Good. Good deal.
Hold on a minute. I got some people here want to talk.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello? All right,
Yes.
good. Kilo India 4, Zulu Echo Romeo, DJ here. I just wanted to thank everybody that came out and helped out with the Ham Fest. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. We actually have a non-ham here tonight visiting us. And this is
Hey.
hello.
Hey.
And he has come up to see our tech night, see how we're doing here. He's seen us at the Ham Fest. And the Joseph guys had talked to him, and he thought he'd come up and check us out tonight. So I thought I'd bring him over here and introduce him to y'all online and here in the clubhouse.
Welcome.
Welcome,
Very
Mark.
good.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. What's your first name?
Mark.
Mark? Good.
Yes.
Good to
Have
see
you
you, Mark.
started- Have you started studying for your license?
No, my first exposure was Saturday at the Ham Fest, so I haven't done hardly anything yet except for show up here.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, the club sponsors classes. We unfortunately have had to do the last two via Zoom, but we just finished the general that DJ can tell you about, and we'll probably do the tech. Oh, I'm gonna guess this is end of March. I'm gonna guess June, July. But by then you could have your license. You can get it typically in like 6 weeks or less with doing self-study.
Yeah, that's what I plan to do, and no rush, but just want to make sure I learn it well.
Very good. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Thanks, you guys, for that brief comment. Appreciate it.
Nice,
Good
welcome.
to-
Oh, hey, Patty.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Hello, happy that we have a guest there at the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Bruce, I saw you today online in the symposium. It was nice to see you there. I'm sorry I didn't chat with you. I was kind of dual hatting at the same time with the fire department and the Alvin's Island fire downtown while we were all involved with that.
Yeah, I skimmed over your posting in Facebook. Patty explained it. She read it a little slow, and we've attended, I think, 3 so far. So they've been pretty good. This was the best one today.
Yeah, I had to miss one, unfortunately, but it's okay. It was just due to some other alarm calls that we had downtown, but I try to keep up with them as much as possible. So it was cool seeing you in there.
Thank you.
Well, in about 6 weeks, it'll all be on YouTube. So for any of them that you missed, you can go back and watch.
You're right. All right, I'm good.
And for those that don't know, he's talking about some emergency management classes that we attended that he had posted the information for on the Facebook page. And so we found them very helpful and useful.
Patty, I snuck onto the CW Ops page while he was talking, and I could not find anything about donations.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem, Patty. Anytime.
Shoot, maybe we may be getting another CW operator in the household.
You just never know. All right, I'm gonna head out. Great presentation, Rich. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, Patty. My pleasure.
By the way, Bill Perdue is also another high-speed operator. He was interested in getting into the academy. Both of us can actually get on the air and give you guys practice without too much problem.
Yeah, I asked the students after you mentioned that at the last tech night, and I didn't know if you had any takers or not. Bob.
Nobody ever contacted me. I put the word out and I told Bill. Bill said, yeah, he'd be glad to come up and work. Give guys practice on CW.
Yeah.
One thing was mentioned here I need to bring up, and that is 5-letter code groups. 5-letter code groups are extremely difficult to copy. They are tough because they're mixed up. You have 5-letter code groups, they'll have numbers, they'll have special characters in them and letters. And these were code groups that were used in the military. And when I got my commercial license, I had to copy 25 word per minute and 5-letter code groups. And that is tough.
Wow.
The interesting thing is when you can copy that solid, because it's crypto was what it was, but it's a lot more difficult because they're not words, they're groups. And when you can copy 5-letter code groups it makes you a much better operator in being able to copy code because you have no idea what's coming next. And in your mind, you can't put something together like a guy is carrying on a conversation and you can end his sentence. You know what he's going to say. With a code group, you don't know from 1 minute to the next or 1 second to the next what's coming down the pipe.
Wow.
And it's difficult copy, but when you master that, you can pretty much copy anything.
That's
a tough mode. I used to copy crypto in the service, and it was no picnic.
yeah. Usually you really high speed guys have had a service background, and the W5RE does too.
Yes, well, W5RE and myself go back many, many years. We also were overseas in Diego Garcia together. He was on one ship, I was on another. Him and I have been running around the world for a few years.
Yeah, I'll shut up in a second. I was chatting with W5RE after the evening CW traffic net, and he cranked up the speed. Boy, I was hanging on by my fingernails. I cannot do over 30. It was just my hat off to that guy.
W5RE.
Once you get up to 30, it makes it very easy to copy. Conversation's easy to copy. Code groups aren't.
I wouldn't doubt it. I haven't tried the code groups yet.
Try it. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Hey, Rich, do you ever talk to Juan Lopez, AC6ZM in the CW contest?
Oh yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, he's a high-speed operator too.
He's in Tennessee, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I remember right. Yeah, like I said before, the trick with the contest is you know what's coming.
Mhm.
So I have my keyer turned up as well because I know what's coming, and nobody, they're all easily copying way over my 30 words a minute, so I don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, he's flying apparently. He runs 2 rigs at the same time also. Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Dang, one gives
Yep.
me wow.
Yeah.